You typically start a business because you're really good at doing something and you love doing that and you find proof of concept, people are paying you money for it and you're like, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden this like little monster starts growing behind you and it's the monster of ops, right? Because it's like, well, how are more people gonna get that? How are you gonna automate it? How are you gonna systematize? How are you gonna create processes? Like, how are you gonna manage the people that you need to help you to do the thing?
That's really great. I love that.
As a creative, when you start seeing the boundaries that are being set for you as freedom to play within that box, I think everything changes.
Right.
Because
welcome to another episode of Special Ops Podcast. I'm Emma Rainville, your host. And today, let's talk about one of the biggest screw-ups I see in businesses, hiring. Most businesses get this wrong because they assume that they need a smart person or a team player. Sounds good, right? But here's the reality. You don't hire a smart person. You hire the right person for the right role. And guess what? Operations and creatives are wired entirely differently. Creatives thrive on ideas, risk-taking, and flexibility. Operators thrive on structure, systems, and execution. Hire the wrong person for the wrong role, and you're setting your business up for chaos. If you're struggling with hiring and managing these two different types of people, this episode is going to save you a lot of pain, wasted money, and a whole lot of headaches. Today, I'm joined with my good friend, Yara Golden, a messaging and leadership expert who's worked with some of the biggest brands in direct response. She's seen firsthand what happens when you hire the wrong people, and she's jumped in and fixed it before her clients pay the price. If you feel like your creative team is chaotic or your operations team is moving too slow, you probably don't have a hiring problem. You have a management problem. Today, we're diving in to fix exactly that. So most businesses think that one interview can predict success, and we know that that's bullshit.
yeah,
Thinking one type of person can do creative or could do operational roles is just insane, right?
well, it's asking a lot of
Right.
one person. Like if you're looking for unicorns, sure, go unicorn hunting, but good luck.
Right. Because I'm an operator. I work a lot in marketing. Operations, and a lot of people don't understand this, it's not a department, it's in every department. And that's usually someone who's an operator functioning with the creatives, not being a creative. And so they put their CMO or their director of marketing and they try and make them into an operator, or they try and have them play nice together without setting up a structure. And it's just, so can you, and you've done a lot of this and fixing this for clients. Can you talk to me today about like a real-time client example, you don't have to share their name, where misalignment in hiring or just misalignment in communications between ops and marketing just created total chaos?
Yeah, absolutely. I can actually give you my own example of me.
Perfect.
Like, yeah, it's really interesting. So when I got into entrepreneurship, right? When I started my entrepreneurial journey, I was just like, I was so full of ideas and creativity. And I was like, let's go. Like everything's going to be amazing, right? And you typically start a business because you're really good at doing something and you love doing that. And you find proof of concept, people are paying you money for it. And you're like, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden this like little monster starts growing behind you and it's the monster of ops, right? Because it's like, well, how are more people going to get that? How are you going to automate it? How are you going to systematize? How are you going to create processes? Like, how are you going to manage the people that you need to help you to do the thing? And what I found was that when I started, I was spending 80% of my time doing the thing that I loved. By the time the business had grown and I had traction, I was only doing what I loved like 20% of the time. And I was like, I hate everything else that I'm doing and I'm not great at it. But the learning curve is high, right? But I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get past this. And the more and more I dove into ops and the logistics of the business, the more I felt like my creative light dimming. And I was just angry all of the time. And it was like, I wanted to put some effort into it and get it going well. But then I really just wanted to like rebel against the systems and the processes and just be like creative about it. Or I tried even worse, being creative with the processes and the operations of the business, right? It's like, well, what if we try it this way? And next month we're going to try it that other way.
Drastic.
Right? But this is what creatives do. Like we're the ones that stir the pot and we get things going. And that just doesn't work in operations. And that doesn't mean that a creative person can't be operationally functional. But is
They
it
do a lot better of a job if they're not.
totally, but is it their highest and best use is what I was going to say. And I really don't think so. And so when I was able to kind of hand that off, not only did the business start growing, but I also like found my spark again, because I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is where my energy and like my attention and focus should be going, rather than forcing myself into a space and a spot that I don't really fit in. And nobody was happy with me there.
Well, I'm sure, because there's like this thing in marketing where like, God, you have to, like, the sky has to be the limit. And actually, there's a universe, so there is no limit, right? And you have to be able to function off of, there are no bars.
It's a what if.
Right. And then operations gets to come in and go, ooh, we can't deliver that. We need to dial that back to here. Can you guys do that? But you do, right?
Right.
But you've created this great product. If you're sitting trying to create a product with, I wonder if they're going to be able to deliver it. I wonder if the system can handle it. I wonder if manufacturing can handle it. It's ops job to go make sure that can happen after the fact. That shouldn't be in creative's wheelhouse at all.
Yeah, it's really interesting now that I understand the two sides of the business, right? And I totally agree with what you're saying. I think that ops, the way that we describe it to our clients, it's kind of the glue that holds everything together, right?
I sit all day long and I think about what's going to go wrong if we do this.
Yeah.
That would kill.
It's black hat. It's very black hat.
Kill a creative.
Yeah.
That would absolutely kill the soul of a creative.
Yeah, like when you're sitting at the whiteboard going like, what if we could do this, right? And you're mapping everything out and you're throwing ideas against the wall and seeing if they stick. The last thing you want someone coming in is being like, well, for every one person that we bring in, the cost is going to be blah, blah, blah. And we need to bring on this many salespeople. And it's like, yes, but shut up. Like, I don't want to hear that right now, right? We're just...
When we're done.
Yeah, when we're done and we've decided that this is the route that we want to go.
Now that person can come in and go, here's all the consequences we're going to have.
Well,
and how do we fix that?
Give us a reality check, right?
How do we, so if you have a good operator, right? They're not going to be like, we can't do this, we can't do this, we can't do this. What they're going to say is, we can only do this when, we can only do this if, we need this to do this. Yes. And it's just going to be, how do I position everything in a way that we can deliver it?
But I think that that's such a key piece of this. The relationship that needs to be established between the creative and the ops person is one of co-creation, right? Because I think that a lot of times when people bring in an operator, it's a very oppositional relationship, because the creative is like, well, I want to do these things. And they said that I can't until X, Y, and Z happens, or only if X, Y, and Z happens. And I think that when you start, as a creative, when you start seeing the boundaries that are being set for you as freedom to play within that box, I think everything changes.
Right.
Because up until you accept that and you're just like, I'm this like unwieldy river that's like flowing all over the place, and my operator is a canal that's channeling that energy towards a goal that I freaking said that I wanted. And so let's go, right? That changes.
But I think that the operator needs to stay out of it in the earlier stages. Yeah. I've had marketers come to me and be like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, I have no opinion. I have no opinion right now, because I have no idea where you're going to shape it into. And the more boundaries I set for you, the harder it is for you to dream a big dream. And so the best thing you can do is go build and dream a big dream. And then I'll figure out how to dial it back and make it deliverable.
Well, cast a vision.
Right.
Cast the vision, and then let's see how we can go about doing that. Because you may come back and be like, this is awesome. By the way, we're going to need to grow a team up from 50 to 100 people. Are you good with that? And the creative could be like, I don't, that's not really in the version of what I want to do. So like, let's dial it back. Right. But I think that permission of like, yeah, okay, like this is what it's going to look like. Is that something that you want to do? And then deciding together, yes, we're going to dive into this, is really powerful, instead of being like, well, my operator's going to tell me that I can't do that. Or the common one, right? But integrator, I hate my integrator.
Well, the problem with there's a couple things. One thing is operations and marketing don't generally work on their relationship, and they need to be working on their relationship. The marketer has to feel completely free to experiment. That's so important. So important. And then the second thing is they can't feel like they're micromanaged by an operator. If an operator was creating the marketing, nothing would ever sell, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? So everybody has their role and they really need to be sitting and working. Something that Mikhail from White Coda said to me, and I absolutely loved it. Operations and marketing meets at the checkout page. Mm. And that was like, it was such a great way of describing it.
Right.
It was such a great way of describing it. I absolutely love that. And I think in the middle of the podcast, I text myself what he said. I liked it so I'm serious.
You're like, it's my new tattoo, actually.
Like, seriously, I love making posters for my office and hanging them up and rotating them constantly. And so, yeah, I just absolutely loved that saying. And so let's talk for a minute about iteration loops, because you work with operators regularly. You have to. And so how do you set up your iteration loop so that your operations team feels like they're in the know, and operators have to have control. We all need freaking control. If we don't have control, we're nightmares to deal with. And marketing likes that someone else has the control and the final decision, but they also like their freedom. So how do you create iteration loops so that you're being able to discuss with your operations team what you're doing and implementing things where it's a cadence where everybody feels like they're in their best self?
Yeah. So I do my best to not micromanage my team. So we run an agency. And so there's a lot of moving pieces and parts for a lot of different businesses, a lot of projects going on all of the time. And so with my team, I very much give them responsibility, because I know when I was doing the work, right, I loved being told, hey, this is a project, this is the due date, just get it done, right? Like, we don't miss deadlines. Like, that's a hard stop. That's a hard stop. And so I do the same with my team, and I'm like, you're in charge of this thing. This is the due date. If you have an issue or you get stuck, let me know. And at the end of the week, I get a report from all of my employees, and then I give a report to all of my teams, and it's typically to the ops person on that team, right? And so I'm like, hey, this is what got worked on. This is the status of it. We're on track. We're off track. We're stuck. And, this is an update for you. And typically that's enough, because ops just wants to know, are we on track, right?
Right.
Like, we have a goal, and are we on track? Do you need help? And I think that, again, it's the relationship. For me, it's like, as long as I'm showing visibility, like, they want oversight, right?
Clear expectations.
Clear expectations.
Clear expectations. If we agreed that this project was going to be done on February 20th, and I come to you on February 20th, and you're like, oh, that's not getting done till May. And why am I hearing about this now? I need clear expectations. I need to understand the step-by-step execution of what's about to happen. And then I need the stability and predictability because we've communicated those things.
Right. And then there's also different styles, right? So I think that you would probably want more detail because you've been involved.
For me, I could never do the let me update you over email. That would never. In my businesses, in all of my businesses, we have a weekly call called a breaker. We take a break from working in the business and we work on the business. And I want a status update. Everybody has goals and to-dos, and I want a status update on all those things. And it doesn't have to be crazy. It should not be long. It takes very, very little time. It's just like, here's your goal for the quarter. Are you on track? Are you off track? Do you need help? Do you need resources? Are you stuck? What's going on? And then what did you work on this week? And I added that in probably about 2 years ago, because I found that when you have to tell people what you've done, those quarterly goals will get done in about a month.
Yeah.
And then we can work on refining, iterating, optimizing.
Yeah.
And so for me, I need that. We do it for 90 minutes every week. And then at the end of that meeting, we go into just discussing like, I'm proactive problem solving is huge for me. Mm-hmm. Don't come to me with a problem. Come to me when I should look at it before it becomes a problem.
Right.
And so we spend whatever time left is on that call. It starts and ends on time. Whatever time is left on that call, we call it the signals list, what everybody needs to be signaled to so it doesn't become an issue. And we run through it. And if we finish early, which is most of the time, we buy back our time and we go back to work. And if we need to take it right up, we prioritize making sure on urgency we're getting through everything. And if we don't get to something, it was low priority anyway, and we can talk about it next week.
Right.
But I need that.
Yeah.
But then I don't need anything else. I've been updated. I understand. I know everybody everybody has had an opportunity to get help in their thing. And then we have a stand-up meeting every day, every single day. And it's just a good morning. Anybody need anything? Nope.
Peace. Yeah, we have the same. We have a stand-up meeting, and I think it's different because I think you're talking about like running companies. I'm talking about being like an outsourced marketing department for a company. So I'm really giving them a status update on something that they're looking for us to have leadership on, right? So I'm just like, hey, everything's on track. So it's a little.
Well, this isn't. Well, we are ops outsourced to companies. Same thing. You're marketing. I'm ops fractional. But for this is, I want to know everything that's going on with all the businesses.
Because even in this conversation, it's very apparent. Like I'm a creative, so I'm just like, oh, like it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Like everything's on track, and you're like, what are the goals? Where are we going? What are we doing? Right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
But businesses need both.
Right.
And
yes, absolutely.
And I think that's the actual beautiful part when you really start understanding it. For a long time, I would roll my eyes at the ops conversation. I was just like, oh my God, they're so annoying.
My marketing team loves the breaker.
Yeah.
They love the breaker because one of the things that they get to do is if something's, and we don't ever allow anyone to, I call it dimming the light. I don't dim the light on the marketing team. If they're asking questions, we're giving them factual answers, no feelings, and that's it. Because when they're building something, it might be like, hey, from an FTC standpoint, like before I go down this rabbit hole, can I do this?
Can I say that?
Is it, like, here's my big idea for this entire funnel. I don't want to have to go back and redo it. Is that okay? And we're factual.
I find that's when I actually go to ops when we're writing copy and we're doing like bonuses or, the features and benefits and things like that. And I'm like, this sounds really good. And I know it'll sell, but can they do that? can we deliver that, you know? And because I'm like, well, I can write it on the page, but if you can't deliver it, it doesn't make any sense, you know? And so that's when I find myself flagging ops a lot and just being like, hey, can you come and tell me if like we're smoking crack over here or are we like,
you're smoking crack?
Yeah, most of the time.
Most of the time. But let me show you how you dial that back a little bit. I love that. Creatives need such, flexibility and vision, where operators need structure and consistency. And so talk to me about how when you have a big project for a client, you guys will build whole funnels out for people. When you have a bigger project like that, how are you balancing the two so that everything gets, because you guys do it fast. Yeah. So how are you balancing the two so that everything gets done and it gets done good enough that it can actually launch? Yeah.
Everything starts with strategy. We will not move until a strategy is mapped out and both.
That sounds very operational.
Yeah.
I've never known a marketer who planned a thing.
Yeah. Well, we've done this so many times where we're just like, just start, write some copy. And it's like, well, okay, but what kind of funnel is it? Is it a challenge? Is it a webinar? Is it a 2-step order form? Is it like, what are we doing?
Whatever you think.
Yeah. Like we'll figure it out later. Like we tried that for a really long time until we got sick and tired of it. And I was like, you know what? Like we will not move a muscle until we have the strategy mapped out, our team and client has signed off. And then we typically start with our lead piece of content, whether that be a sales page or a challenge or whatever it happens to be. And we get all of the messaging, we get the offer, like we get everything down. And then once we have that piece, everything else goes so much smoother because everything's been approved, everything's been vetted, like everything's been okayed, double checked by everyone.
It's just checking boxes.
Exactly. At that point, I'm like, okay, we're doing emails, we're doing text messages, we're doing we're doing all the things and design, like all of that it's fine, right? Like it can be changed very easily, but the main piece, like the big rocks of the project have to be solid. And I'm a huge stickler. I'm just like, once we approve something, it's approved. And if we change something in the lead piece of content, we're going back. Like nothing is happening until this gets approved and is like sealed. It's like in stone. We're not changing anything. And if we do change it down the line, because what happens is like, let's say we lock down an offer and we start writing all of the copy and we go ahead and write the emails and the ads and everything. And then it's like, oh no, we're dropping that bonus. From a marketing perspective, it's like, no big deal. Just take it off the sales page. But from a copy, perspective, all my copywriters are like, wait, we have to go back and like change all of the emails and all of the ads and everything because you guys took something out, right? And so it creates double, triple, quadruple work when you're just having a lot of cooks in the kitchen. And so I'm like, forget it. Like I need everything approved every single step along the way before we move. And then we can get everything done really fast.
Yeah, that's really great. I love that. We're going to wrap up in a second, but I just want to go back for just a moment, if I could. When you have operators and creatives, when you come in and it's just toxic and they're just, because it happens.
Yeah.
It happens to us all the time. We'll come in and they're just bitching about each other and you can't get through one productive meeting because everybody just wants to be right and they want to talk rather than listen. What do you do? Like, what's the strategy that you've used to, because I know we've talked about this and you've been successful at this. I'm like, fire everybody and start over. It's so much easier.
Yeah.
But you're like, hey, let's salvage this. Talk to me about how you come in and you just recreate a symphony of people being able to communicate and work together.
That sounds so nice, a symphony. I think I would err on the side of saying it's helping people see the vision. It's the bigger vision, right? We have to, it's funny because the business owner is typically the visionary, right?
Right.
And a lot of times they hold that vision really...
All the time.
Yeah.
I wrote a whole book on it.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
They believe that they've explained the vision to everyone.
Exactly. I was going to say they hold it so dear. And
I painted the Sistine Chapel for you. And meanwhile, it's like, womp, 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 womp. Sell shit.
Yeah.
That's what people
That's
hear.
what it comes across.
And when you go into companies every time, and you say, what's the vision of the company? Everybody will give you a different answer.
Yeah.
So, but go ahead.
No, that's exactly it. It's like they hold the vision so dearly, but so tightly. And they think that they do a great job of explaining it. So
they also think they understand the vision, but until they put it to paper, they actually don't.
Totally. Well, because it's like, I feel, so I started as a copywriter, right? And I loved writing because I felt like writing forced me to make sense of my thoughts. Because until I sat down and I was like, okay, now I need a timeline. Now I need actual words that convey the feelings and the thoughts. And do I need to put this in or do I leave it out, right? Like there was a lot of thought that goes into writing. And I think that the same thing happens with vision. It's kind of this like nebulous thing that's in their minds and they feel it more than they see it. And they want to convey that feeling to the team. And the team is like so eager most of the time to do a good job and to please and to be like, yeah, we got this, that the visionary is like, and we're going to sell stuff. And everyone's like, yeah, we're going to sell stuff. Don't worry about it. We got it, boss. And the boss leaves and the team's like, do you know what we're doing? And the ops team is like, no, we're not really sure, but like, let's do something, right? And so I think if we can bring in the visionary and help them get the message and the vision out, and then communicate that to the team with timelines and tasks and like priority and due dates, that's what makes the difference. Because then people are like, oh, I know how to do a good job now. And I know that the ops team is just trying to help me do a good job. And the ops team is like, okay, marketing and creative is over there like being crazy, but I know that they're in that chaos. Something good's going to come out that I can use so that we can move this project forward. And so I think that's where that symphony happens.
It's a symphony.
Yeah.
It 100% is. You need all of these different components. And I look at businesses that way. Yeah. You've got, your 3 violins, your 2 cellists.
So is ops like the conductor?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the visionary is the guy above on stage, because we're in the pit, right, above on stage going, yes, it's all me. 100%. I absolutely have that vision in my head of business.
I love that.
All right. Well, if you got some value out of this today, we've got something for you. We put together a free tool that's going to make hiring and managing these 2 very different types of people a hell of a lot easier. We created the High Performance Hiring Blueprint, and you can get it inside the Visionary Vault at www.specialopspodcast.com/vault. You can't build a high performance business with the wrong people. And you can't manage the right people the wrong way. Get this right, and your business will scale faster with way less stress. Thank you so much for coming. How do people find you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me at yaragolden.com, and it's YARAGOLDEN.com.
For those of you who did not catch that, her name is dumb. And I've said this like 3 times. YARA, though her name is Yada.
Yada,
so,
yada,
yada, yada, yada, yada, yada, yada. Thank you so much for joining me. And we're going to do a bunch of these. So I'm super excited.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.